What's up guys, in today's video I'm going to teach you and I'm going to show you how to create a crash bot. You're going to see how to create a bot in MQL5, in MetaTrader 5, and you are going to see that is something truly very simple. One thing I want to tell you is that I always forget, and is that you have here my GitHub. So in my GitHub you have this repository called Trading Bot, in which I put everything I do here on the channel. So for example, here in the folder MQL5, we have here all the bots that I've created. And for example, you have the one from the previous video, Index Boom, and the one we are going to do now, the Index Crash. And these bots that I upload here work. So if you have problems, you can check the things here, and that's it. So another thing that I want to tell you is that we are going to create an index bot which is going to be in the crash market. And one thing I want to tell you is that, look, this video is just for you to learn how to create a crash bot, like, well, not a crash bot, like how to create a bot with MT5, like with MetaTrader 5. Because this market, the Synthetical market, as far as I know, is random. And what random means is that you basically cannot predict this. Like, you cannot predict when this is going to happen if this is truly random. So you have to be very careful with that. So I don't know if this is, like, as far as I know, is random. Like, maybe I'm wrong and this is not random, but as far as I know, again, is random. So be very careful with that. So now I'm going to show you how to create an index bot, and in this case we are going to detect these crashes, and we are going to try to take them and earn money with that. And I will tell you that no, we are not going to win any money, but we are going to learn how to do the bot, which is the important thing. So here we are going to click on IDE, and here this is the bot for the Index Boom, but now we are going to create another one. Let me close all these because I don't want this. Here we are going to click on New, Expert Advisor. Next, we are going to call this Index Crash. We are not going to click any of these. You just click, you just press Next, Final, or Finally, or End. I don't know what would say there. And here we are going to delete everything, and we are going to start with the bot. So the first thing that we need to know is that MQL5, which is the language that MetaTrader 5 uses, has events. And for example, we are going to start by seeing the event on init. So this event is going to be executed every time we launch the bot. And it's going to be executed only once when we launch the bot. So if you launch the bot here, at the beginning, the first thing that it will do is to execute this function. So what do we want to do inside this function? We want to initialize the candles because we want to have the values of the candles. And how do we store the values of the candles? We are going to create a variable. How do we create a variable? In this case, the type of the variable is MQL rates, which is an object, which is a class, sorry. And here we are going to put candles, and since we are not going to have only one, we are going to put this, and with this we are saying that this is an array in which we don't say the length, but this is an array. We have several candles. So here we need to initialize this array. And how do we do this? We are going to put here array set a series. We send the array, the candles, and we set here true. So for example, I don't have very clear what this function does, and I select this, I press F1, and here I have all the information about this function. And in fact, this function, what it does is that sometimes, when you load the the candles, it happens that it's not in the order that you expect. With this function, you will have this in the order that you expect. So here you have the information and what you need to send. So using the manual is truly very useful. So we have finished with the function on init, and what we need to do now is to use the function on tick. So here in the function onTick, we have before we initialize the candles array. Here what we need is to store the information. And how do we store the information? We are going to call the function copy rates. Here is asking us for a symbol. And what is the symbol? If we come here, you can check that the symbol is crash 300 index. We could write this with a string, but no, there is a very useful thing that is this. If you type this, you are going to say that, hey, I want the current symbol. So it is going to take the current symbol of the chart in which you launch the bot. So here we put that. And then here we are going to put period, the current period, which is the thing that is asking us, period, and in the same way, which is very useful. And now here we need to set the starting position. So if we say here 0, we are going to start taking information from this candle, which is the last one. If we put 1 from this other candle, if we put 2 from this other, 3, 4, 5, and so on, so on, so on. So we want the very last one, so we put here a 0. And also we need to say how many do we want. We are going to be taking like 3, but we just need 1, but just put here 3 so there isn't any issue. And finally we need to set here the array in which we are going to store it. So we put here candles. So okay, we now have the information, and now we need to put the logic of the bot. I think I forgot to tell you what the onTick event does, and is that you can see here that the price is changing. So on every candle, the price changes. So on every change of the price, on every tick, we are going to execute this function. So here, what we can do is that we can check if the current candle is bearish. So if we detect that the candle is bearish, like it goes down, we are going to open a sell position. So how do we do this? We are going to call the function bearish, which is not from MT5. We are going to create it later, and we are going to say, hey, from the last candle, I want to I want to check if the candle is bearish, and in fact, I want to say that it's bearish if if the price has moved in this candle 200 points. So for that, we are going to put here 200 by the value of each point. And that's how you do it here. And this is one part of the condition inside this if. So the next thing that we need to do here is to put that we are going to use a time flag. And why? Look, in this candle, there were several ticks. And that means that this condition is going to be met a lot of times. So if we are going to open a position when this happens, we are going to open a lot of position because that is happening a lot of times. So here you put that bearish, and we are going to say that time flag that in fact is going to be a bool value. So here, a bool variable. Here we are going to put time flag, and at the beginning is going to be true because otherwise it's not going to ever go inside here. So what is the things that we are going to do when these conditions are met? First of all, we are going to open positions. But in order to open positions, we need to first take the current price. So since we are going to open sell positions, we need the bid. So here, how do we take the bid? We are going to use the function symbol info double because it returns a double, and the variable we created is of type double. We are going to send what is asking this function. So it's asking us the symbol name, and as you know, in order to use the symbol, you just use this symbol. And now we want the bid. So we come back here and we use the bid. So this next thing, we don't need it. But the problem with this is that it can return a number with a lot of decimals. So for example, something like this. And this will give you errors. So in order to avoid those errors, we are going to use this function normalize double, and we are going to take this value. And then we are going to say that we want to normalize it to a certain number of digits. So here it has 3 digits, so we could put here 3, but a very useful thing is to say like I want the number of digits that the current market has. So for example, digits, as simple as that. So now that we have the price, we need to open position. Well, we are going to open positions, but in order to open positions, we need to import one thing, and is the trade class. And this trade class is inside the library trade and the file trade.mqh. So here we have the class called ctrade. So we are going to import that. Well, we are going to create an object from that class, ctrade, and the object is going to be called trade. And trades usually have tickets. So in order to store a ticket, we are going to use an unsigned long, and it's going to be called trade ticket, which at the beginning is going to be equal to 0. The next thing that we need is nothing. We don't need anything else. And now we are ready to open positions. So how do we do this? You put here trade. Well, you use the object trade. Now we are going to use the function, and since we want to open cells, we are going to use cell. So here we have this trade cell, and now it was asking us for values. Let me open this. Oh my god. Yeah. For example, first of all, it's asking us for the volume, the lotage. Here we are going to put 0.1 for the moment. Later, I will show you how to put a dynamic value here. It's very simple. Another thing is asking us is the symbol. Again, use this, the current symbol. Then the price, we have it up there, which is the bit. And then stop loss, we are not going to use it. The take profit, we are not going to use it. And the comment, we are not going to use it. So now that we open the position, we need to store the ticket of this position. So how do we do this? Trade ticket. Ticket is going to be equal to, we are going to use the object trade, and we want the result order. So this will return an unsigned long, and this unsigned long has the trade ticket. So there's no information about this because this is the ctrade object. Maybe there's information about ctrade. Here you can see that. And you can see that we have a lot of positions. So yeah, you can access the information pressing F1, like you select and you press F1 and you have all that information. I always forget to say this, and I forgot again, and is that I think I already showed you the GitHub. So yeah, ignore that. And yeah, so now that we have this, we need to set this time flag, because if we do not want to open another position in the same candle, we need to say, okay, this is going to be false. And now we need to set a timer. So whenever a certain time passes, we open again we can open another position. So we are going to say it here, 60 seconds. And I was wrong with how this function works, because if you set this is going to be executed every 60 seconds. So this calls the timer, and the timer is going to be triggered every 60 seconds. So one useful thing is that there's another event which is called on timer, not on tick, on timer, and whenever the timer is triggered, it will execute this function. So here we are going to say that the time flag is going to be equal to true again, but we need to kill the timer, so this function is not executed every 60 seconds. So we will just want to execute it once when this happens, and yeah. So for that we put here event kill timer, and that's it. So we finished with the logic of opening positions, but now we need to close them. So how do we close them? We are going to add another condition, and this condition is called, this condition, we are going to say that, okay, if there's a position open, okay, for this we are going to put this here. Why? Because if you can check this, when we close the position, we are going to put that the trade ticket is going to be 0, so there are not position open. And also, when there's an error, this returns a number below 0, and at the beginning we set this to 0. So if the value is bigger, it means that there's a position open. So if there's a position open, and let me put the and, the current candle is not bearish, we are going to put here bearish, the current one, we are going to close the position. And how do we close the position? Trade, we are going to use the object trade, and we are going to use the position close. We need the trade ticket, that's why it's very useful, trade ticket. And finally, we need to reset the trade ticket. So yeah, that's it. So now what we can do is that we can define this function, because we have finished with the logic of the bot. Like, the bot is very simple and very short. So now here what we are going to do is that we are going to use a function. Well, we are going to create a function which is going to be called bearish. Okay, not this, sorry. So we are going to put here bearish, and it returns a boolean, a bool value, because it's here inside a condition. So here we are going to put bool. And here you can see that, for example, we sent two things, but here we just sent one. Like, do we have to create two functions with the same name? No, we need to send here an optional argument. So how do we do this? First of all, we are going to put here the candle position, because this 0 refers to the candle position and is mandatory to have that. So this is the candle pos, but the second one is optional, because it's the candle length needed to say that is bearish. So here we are going to put double candle length, and since this is optional, when it's not sent, we are going to say that this is going to be equal to 0. So yeah, that's it. And now we need to set the logic behind this. So what is the logic behind this? It's very simple. So we have to put that we are going to return, well, how do we say if a candle is bearish or not? You can see that now here the open is here and the close is here. So if we subtract the open minus the close, we have a number. So if the number is bigger than 0, then this means that it is bearish. And it's very important, that order, open minus close, because if you use close minus open, you are checking that this is, well, if the candle is bullish. But here we want to check if it is bearish. So we are going to take the current candle. So for that we use the array of candles that we created before. We use the candle position. And now I want the open. So if the open minus the close of the same candle, we are going to put here candle pos of the same candle close. If this is bigger than the candle length, so for example, if it's bigger than 0, any candle with a small movement, if it's down, it will be bearish, and this will say, hey, it's bearish. But if we set a limit, for example, here 200 points, if we don't reach that limit, although it is bearish, we are not going to say that is bearish. So we are going to put here, if that is bigger than candle length, then we return this. And I think that we have finished with the bot. Yeah, we have finished. So you click on compile. And now let's test this, because we may have errors. So here we are going to put all ticks, and stay tuned, because this is very important, and this is very important that you check this. And in fact, you don't have to use all ticks, but let me show you so you see what is the problem of using all ticks. So now we are going to use the index crash. We are going to put this on the crash market, 1 minute, okay, everything is okay. We are going to put the visual mode so we see everything that is happening. And now, okay, it is loading the things, and we are going to see if everything works fine. So you can see that that one was fine, that one was fine. Like, since it changed the candle, yeah, it's normal that, yeah, it closes that. But for example, here it's doing everything okay. So you may be wondering, hey, this is working too fine. In fact, it's working too fine. And when things work too fine, what you have to do is doubt, because there may be a trick behind. So for example, let's remove the visual mode and let's check something. So let's check how does the money grow. We started with 10,000, and in 4 months, we would have multiplied our money by 5. Like, look, 54,000 euros. So for example, this changes if you use dynamic lotage. Let's use dynamic lotage. How do we do this? So for example, here is where we are sending the dynamic lotage. So we are going to take this out, and we are going to use the function get lotage, which we are going to create. And here we need to say that, well, we are going to create it here. So here we are going to say, okay, this returns a double because it's the lotage that we are going to use. Get lotage. It doesn't receive anything. And first of all, we need to get the balance of the account. how do we take the balance? It's very simple. We need to store that in a double because it returns a double. So balance, and we are going to say that, okay, account info double, which will return the information of account, and here you have account balance. So that's how you get the balance. And the next thing that you need to do now is to set the dynamic lotage. We are going to do that, for example, for every 1,000 euros. What we are going to do is that we are going to set the lotage of 0.2. So if we have 2,000 euros, we are going to set the lotage is going to be equal to 0.4. So double lotage is going to be balance divided by 1,000, and the result is going to be multiplied by 0.2. But again, this can return a big number, and in fact here I think that we just need 2 decimals, so we don't want this. So how do we avoid that? We use the function called normalize double. So here we are going to put this, we are going to put normalize double, and here we are going to set 2 digits. But now there's an issue. This lotage can be bigger than 50, and whenever you try to use a lotage above 50, MetaTrader 5 is going to say, hey bro, you cannot do that. So in order to avoid that, we're going to say, okay, return the lotage or 50, and we are going to return the lotage only when the lotage is less or equal than 50, otherwise it's going to return 50 all the time. So we compile, we come back here and check this out. Like, this is truly crazy. Like, in less than 1 month, we had already millions, like 1 million, I think. So this is truly crazy. Like, you truly have to set things okay, because otherwise you are going to be confused. You may think, hey, you are rich or something. No. You can see that we have 2 million euros in 4 months, from 10,000 to 2 million. Like, that is crazy. So what is the trick behind this? You have to come here and you have to say that, hey bro, don't use all the ticks. What you have to use is all the ticks based on real ones. I thought at one moment that all ticks meant that all ticks that happen. No, you have to use real ticks, and what I wanted is to use real ticks, but I thought that all ticks were that. But no, you have to use all ticks based on real ticks. So check out the difference now. So if we come back to the graph, let's wait until this loads all the information, but you are going to see a very big difference. So if this decides to load, you can see what is happening. So okay, look. The money is just going down. Like, you truly have to be very careful with this, because otherwise this may happen with a real account. You may have done a test in demo, and the demo account is using all ticks, and you may wonder, hey, this is going to work super well, but it's not going to work that well. So guys, that's everything I want to show you in this video. I have an index bot in which I explain in more detail what is happening with all ticks on that. So if you want to check that, you can go. It will be up here, I guess. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, share it, like, share the video, subscribe, and see you in the next.